Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham AFC from the point of view of long-term fans and new fans.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in.
Hello and welcome back to episode 96 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. We hope you are well.
Yes, packed show today, absolutely packed.
Rammed
Full of stuff. So welcome to the 2023-24 season debrief, which we try and do every season. It'll be a gentle little walk through the season.
It's not going to be boring.
No, just a little, stop off. Imagine being on a nice train, just meandering through the season, little stop off here and there while we have a little chat about stuff. Don't know what I'm talking about, but there we go. Absolutely packed show today. We're going to chat about the retained released list in a minute. We'll have a little chat about the Wrexham AFC Awards that were last week.
Last Monday, yeah.
We're going to announce the winners of the Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC Awards and obviously the full season debrief as well. So yeah, strap yourselves in. This might be a long one, maybe.
Yeah.
I said last week.
It's going to be a short one.
It's going to be a short one, and it absolutely wasn't. So who knows? It might just be the same length as normal. It's quite hard to say when you're just starting, really, isn't it?
Go on.
So we'll start with, I think, the retained list.
Yep.
They call it the retained list. I sort of call it the retained/released list because the list isn't retained players, it's always the released players.
Yeah.
So by proxy then it's like, well, we know who's been retained sort of thing. So Kerry McCarran got in touch. She said, could you guys do a video explaining why the players were let go? I mean, just first and foremost about that, we don't work at the club, so we're not 100%, but we'll try and sort you through it.
From our perspective.
Yes, yeah. I understand most, but Tozer was a surprise to me. Thanks. So, Kerry, just for you and everyone else who's listening, this is that. We'll try and talk through each of the players who were released, have a little chat about each one, try and explain as best we can why we think that perhaps they were released. So
the people that were released were Aaron Hayden, Rob Langton, Callum McFadzean, Ben Tozer, Jordan Tunnicliffe, Luke Young, Owen Cushion and Dan Davis.
Yeah, so we'll go through them one by one. So Aaron Hayden, we sort of talked about last week. Don't think it was a huge shock.
Legs like crisps.
Yes, pretty much. I mean, amazing player.
Yeah.
League One standard player, 100%. But we just can't keep him fit. So there's the first one. You can't really take up a squad position with a player who is
not going to be playing,
barely playing because he's always injured. So I love Aaron Hayden and I wish he could have stayed, but I understand the reasons why. And I think most people understand the reasons why you can't have a player like that at the club. Mm-hmm. That one, nice and simple.
Pretty straightforward. Next one's pretty straightforward as well.
Rob Langton, pretty much the same thing.
Didn't get a game all season last season.
No, injured all the time. I would... another player who is 100%, in my opinion, a League One goalkeeper. Absolutely amazing goalkeeper. But it's injuries that have done for Rob. Aaron and Rob, they're in the same bracket. It's injuries that have done for them.
Amazing players, but injury prone.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. If we were going into League One and we'd lost Arthur, and Mark is obviously at the age that Mark's at, and we were looking for a first choice goalkeeper. If we were going into a League One season with Rob between the sticks, I would have zero concerns. Zero concerns about that. I'd be more than happy to have Rob in goal for us week in, week out. The problem with that sentence is the week in, week out bit. because I can't remember the last season that he played that he wasn't injured. Do you know what I mean?
I can't remember the last game he played.
Last season completely compounded it by he didn't play a single game. I know Arthur was there, but I'm not even sure Rob was fit to play a game if he was called upon, to be perfectly honest, last season. So, again, another reason why that one's done.
Callum McFadzean.
We might as well be brutally honest. There's no point.
Yeah.
There's no point dancing around it. I don't think Callum's good enough for League One. I think Callum very much did a job for us in the National League.
Yeah.
He stepped in as and when he was needed to in League Two. I just don't think he's a League One player. And with his, and that will be the case for a few of these on here. Perhaps not quite to that level, which is it's in life. That's just one of them things. You're at a level that you're at. And I think with Callum's contract coming to an end, the fact that we're now going into League One, I just think that worked out perfectly for the club. Maybe not for Callum, but it worked out perfectly for the club that, okay, it's time to let you go.
He's still enjoying himself in Las Vegas, though.
They all are.
As is Rob Langton,
yes.
as is Aaron Hayden.
Yeah.
They all are.
Yeah, they are, definitely.
So the next one up is Ben Tozer. You said that you were shocked by, you were shocked that Ben Tozer was released. For me, not so shocked. He hasn't, he's 34 now.
I think so, about that age.
Yeah, he's 34. He's already kind of made the decision to do his coach awards badges. I don't know. Just
coaching badges.
Coaching badges.
You threw definitely too many words into that then.
His coaching badges. So I think he kind of knew that this was coming. Obviously still a shock, to get released, but not so much of a shock. Like some other players, didn't get as many minutes in League Two as he did. I mean, he played every single game in the National League.
Yeah, I've got some stats about them in a minute, so we'll talk about some of his stats, which are amazing. Like Kerry, I was a little bit shocked by Ben, in the sense of he is doing his coaching badges.
Yeah.
He got taken out of the team sort of mid 3/4 of the way through the season. Our back three looked far more settled, far more structured. It looked, as horrible as it sounds, it looked better without him in it. And that's just the way it is. But he never sulked. He never took a step back. Every game he was on the bench. He had his, fluorescent bib on. He was up and down that touchline, shouting to the defence, trying to organise the defence.
Total team player.
Complete captain. And I can't see why someone like Ben wouldn't move into management later on. The reason it surprised me is because he's doing his coaching badges, because he's at the age that he's at.
Yeah.
Because of such a leader that he is.
He is a good leader.
I felt like perhaps we were going to offer him another 12 months.
Just so he could do his badges.
To finish his coaching badges, then move him into a sort of like a coaching
However,
role.
We don't know that even though he's been released from the club as a player, we don't know what they've got in the background as to whether or not do your badges. And there's a job here. You don't know, do you?
You don't. But usually when things like this happen, he would get another 12 months to do his coaching badges alongside playing. But yeah, not always. But that tends to be what happens. It depends what sort of decision Ben has made personally about his playing career. If he feels I could drop down to the National League, I could play week in, week out, I've still got the fitness, I rarely get injured, I've still got a lot to offer, and if that's the decision that he's making, then sort of his contract being ended and him going to do that makes sense for him as a player. But for us, I'm sort of with Kerry on that one. I was surprised and not surprised at the same time. If you look at it from the playing point of view, Not surprised, because I think, as I say, that defensive unit looks better without him in it. With Owen O'Connell, Tom O'Connor, and Max Cleworth there,
Max.
It just looks like a better unit to me, and it looks more settled. Although from the coaching / playing side, that's where my surprise comes in as to why perhaps he hasn't been offered something because you've 5 minutes left in the game, you're chasing something, you're on the front foot.
You want one of those those toes are throwing.
Them big throws, chuck him in there, a little bit surprised, but not surprised.
Yeah, he did say in I think it was just an Instagram post or it was an interview or something, but he basically said when one door closes, another opens. So I don't know whether he's insinuating that another door has already opened for him, but or he's awaiting that door to open. I don't know, but
watch this space. Watch this space. He's very much enjoying himself in Vegas at the moment. So definitely meeting. I saw him meeting Tiesto.
Yep, he had his picture with Tiesto.
Lil Jon. I think he'd met as well.
Steve Aoki was there last year.
He was last year, yeah. So they're having a great time. So I think they've...
Lads.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's one of them where everyone feels really sorry for them. Yeah, but these conversations, this list, I was surprised it was released while they were in Vegas. The players are obviously aware the list has been released, but it doesn't seem to have dampened spirits. So let's put it like that. So I think they've obviously been aware of this for quite a while.
They've probably been aware of it since before this season actually, the games ended.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. They're very...
Because of Luke Young.
We're very professional and all that. So it's not like we've just dropped it on them while they're in Vegas.
By the way, when you come back...
Yeah. Don't bother coming back.
Yeah.
Jordan Tunnicliffe.
Not surprised. I think Jordan Tunnicliffe is an amazing player. I do really think he is. But again, injured. I just think, I don't know, that he's a tough one because he's played quite a bit, but he's been out for quite a bit as well. I don't think he's necessarily prone to injury, but this injury that he's got is obviously kind of affected him long term, longish term.
I think with this one, look, again, really good player. If you were going to, if there is a long-term injury concern with Jordan, if you're looking at two defenders, you look at Aaron Hayden, you look at Jordan Tunnicliffe. For me, if you're going to take a defender with an ongoing injury issue, you take Aaron Hayden over Jordan Tunnicliffe. The fact that they're both in the same boat. And I just think too many people have stepped ahead of him.
Yeah.
I think. And now you're moving up a league. Perhaps they're looking at that and going, look, it's probably time for us to part ways on that one. So now comes the big one for me.
Can I leave while you talk about this? Because I'm still really gutted.
So we've lost our captain. So we've lost Luke Young. I think for a very long time, this is the hardest one to take because of what he's done at the club. He was the captain who led us out of the National League after 15 years. The things that he's done at the club. I mean, 259 appearances, 22 goals, back-to-back Player of the Season awards in 1920 and 2021. Twice winner of Goal of the Season. He's won top goal scorer, back-to-back promotion winning first team captain. I mean, it goes on and on. I can honestly say that he will not be ever forgotten, I don't think. We will still be talking about him in 20 years as, the guy who did what he did. And very hard to take. It was when you read the list, it was a case of not a surprise, at the same time a surprise.
Yeah.
Because it was such a weird feeling because you look down that list and you go, well, we sort of knew all of these were going to go.
Yeah.
But at the same time, seeing Luke's name on there was quite hard to take.
It's quite official when it's, people can talk, but then when it's written down by the club,
yes,
it's kind of official. But whoever, whatever team that Luke goes to, they will thrive because he is such a great leader, such a team player, and such a workhorse.
Yeah,
so,
I just hope he gets something really great. He's at an age where, different to Ben, because Ben's at an age where his career is towards the end. Luke's only 31, so he has got years left to give in the game. So it's very hard to hold on. Look, as hard as it was to say goodbye, I think if you go hand on heart, probably the right decision. Not possibly. I think probably
the right decision for him. I think as well, because he wants to be on that pitch. He doesn't want to be on the sidelines. He at the end of the day, he's captain. He wants to be, captaining the pitch.
Yeah.
Rather than doing it from, or getting someone else to do it for him. I just think, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
Yeah.
Right decision for us and for him, because he dropped out of the team towards the end of the National League season. Do you know what I mean? So to then not be in the team in League Two, it's very hard to make a case for him all of a sudden being involved in the team in League One. Look, massive loss to the club.
Loss.
Absolutely
not sure I'll ever
massive.
get over it.
No,
genuine. I've had people messaging me asking me if I'm okay. How is Sean coping?
Yeah.
How will Sean cope without Luke Young? And I'm proper gutted.
Yeah,
proper gutted.
I think the thing that makes it easier is because there are scenarios at other clubs where you have a captain who plays every single game of the season, gets to the end of the season and is released. And then all of a sudden, that's a huge body blow. I think maybe the one thing that's made this slightly easier is that he hasn't been playing week in, week out. And maybe that just makes it a little bit easier to take because you're not losing the heart of your team in this. You're losing somebody who's hugely important at the club, but has not been putting in minutes on the pitch. So, look, thank you to Luke for everything he's done.
We love you. I can't even speak, I'm that good. We love you, Luke.
Yes, it's huge. We also lost Owen Cushion and Dan Davis as well. Not players that really made an imprint on the first team. No. People who've come through the academy, that sort of thing, haven't had their contracts renewed. People who have had a contract offer, we've got Stephen Fletcher, Mark Howard, and Aaron James. You like Aaron James, don't you? Because you went to the Port Vale game and he played at the Port Vale game.
Good.
And you came to me and you go, he's good.
He was
So
good.
I don't think that's a huge shock.
No. I definitely think he's got a future in the first team.
Yes. And then you've got Mark Howard.
Yep.
Don't think that's a huge shock either because you're letting
We don't know the situation with Okonkwo, so
no, we don't.
And you're letting Rob go,
You're letting Rob go.
Yeah.
Mark.
We need someone.
We do need a goalkeeper. So you've let Rob go for all of his injury issues. Mark, a very solid number 2, I would say, at the club.
Solid poo.
I know. I just realised that I said that, a solid number 2. But he is, I would say so.
And he's got so much experience to pass on to the likes of Liam Hall and even Okonkwo if he stays.
Rarely gets injured as well.
Yeah.
So that's another big tick in that box, isn't it? So, not huge shock. Stephen Fletcher.
No, it's not a shock.
No, not a shock.
No. I mean, I think we've discussed this quite a lot with Stephen Fletcher. He's not a 90-minute player.
No.
He is a impact 20-minute player. But I think he's happy with that. I think he might quite like. I can't speak.
Might quite like.
He might like that sort of role in the team.
Yeah.
He's, he is at the back end of the age of footballer.
Right. Some may argue he's already past that back end age, but
okay, he is past the age.
no, he's not. Look, he's fit.
He is fit.
He's a fit player. So yeah, so there's there's no reason why he can't continue to play and give in. The one thing that slightly surprised me is the fact that he is taking a squad place when he's only able to do that much. But it's the impact he makes when he does that little bit.
Exactly.
So
and he might not accept it.
He will.
He will.
But I think it was sort of, for me, it was very 50-50. Because you sort of go, oh, look at the impact he does make when he comes on.
But then he's not
the
playing.
flip side is, do you want someone who's doing 90 minutes every week, or at least pushing for that and can still make an impact?
We discussed this last episode,
we did.
Didn't
So
we?
it was 50-50 to me. So shocked but not shocked.
Yeah.
Surprised but not surprised.
Glad.
Yes.
Because do you know what? As much as
Scottish Viking.
Yeah, he is. Braveheart.
Yeah.
He is amazing. He's just, I like him. And yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I've just got nothing else to say.
Happy.
End of story.
Just a few things. The club released something about Rob. They said the third most clean sheets in the club's history with 63 in 143 appearances, as well as being crowned player of the season in 2018-19. I mean, that is a lot of clean sheets. A lot of clean sheets.
Yeah.
And like I said, and I will say it again, easily League One quality goalkeeper. Easily. Without any shadow of a doubt. The thing that's held him back has been
injured for so long.
Yeah. And he's been very unlucky with injuries.
Did he get injured at the Mansfield home game? Not Mansfield. What's the it was in the National League, obviously.
Yeah.
What's the place where he's been?
Bromley.
That's it. He got an injury there, came back, we went there again, and he got an injury
again.
Yeah.
I think he got injured there 3 seasons in a row.
Did he?
I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so, yeah.
So, yeah.
Ben
Tozer.
Yeah.
Back-to-back promotion-winning club captain. He's made 100 consecutive lead appearances after his debut in 21, including playing every single minute of our record-breaking National League title-winning campaign. That is amazing. I mean, that is something that will go into history.
Yeah.
The fact that he played every single minute of every single game.
Yeah.
Of the whole of that season of National League that got us promoted.
And Luke as well, is, for his service to the club, I think is, it's just a thank you really for everything that you've done, and it's a difficult one, I think.
It's sad.
Paul E said shame, but knew Stockport was going to be his last game. Such an engine in the middle, covered acres, created chances. Thanks, Luke.
Father Ted Crilly, club legend, the number 8.
Yeah, and Todd Cross said it's hard to let go, which it is.
Are you reading that one or?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, all right.
Shall I read it?
Chill out, because it didn't just follow on naturally, so I was just having a little break. But if you want to carry on like a steam train, you go for it. Just with regards to sort of all of them, we dwelled on it a little bit, obviously, to talk about it today, but emotionally, we can't dwell on it for too long. I don't think. We just got to move on. This is what it is to support a football club.
This is the part of football that I don't like.
Yeah, it is. Wrexham FC Boston said these are all correct decisions, but I'd have loved to see Tozer coaching. I think he would be the most critical loss from an in-game perspective.
Yeah.
These moves allow us to find some potential starters and upgrades throughout the lineup, and will be critical to putting us in the League One race.
Border C, only one would have said was Tunnicliffe to stay. Think he has more to offer.
Yeah, I mean, you can make an argument for everybody.
Yeah, I think everybody's got something to give, but unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. It is what it is. Look, the club awards were last week.
Yeah, we balloted to get tickets, but we didn't get tickets.
We failed in the ballot, but
I was a bit disappointed.
It's like away tickets, isn't it? There's loads of people want to do everything that's connected to the club, which is a testament to the club and the way that we've grown. It doesn't mean that it's not annoying at times, but, this is the price of success, shall we say. Player's player was Elliot Lee.
Shock. I was quite shocked. I was a bit. I mean, Elliot Lee's fantastic, but I was shocked.
I wasn't massively shocked.
No.
I think for everything he's done.
To be fair, the beginning of the season he was amazing. Yeah. And he's helped us get promoted to league.
Yeah. Goal of the season was Ryan Barnett against Forest Green Rovers. Player of the season was Paul Mullin, which was a shock. It was a huge shock to us, that was, because we thought it was going to someone else, which we'll talk about in a minute. Women's player of the season was Rosie Hughes.
Not shocked.
Young player of the season for the men was Max Cleworth. And women's young player of the season was Lily Jones. We're not going to talk too much about that because we're going to move on to the Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC Awards. So all week, the listeners, viewers, whatever you are, have been voting. And there's been a lot of votes.
There has. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we're glad that there was a lot of votes because we didn't want there to be a small cross-section of people voting on this and sort of skewing the vote. We had loads. We haven't voted on this. We wanted you to vote on this and to have your say. We're not doing a quiz this week. The reason is the questions this week are, who is your player of the season? Okay, so we're going to do.
I wondered when I looked at this.
Yeah.
Like, why has he put that there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's our sort of quiz for the week as to who we think. So we'll announce them one by one in the order that we put it out there. Player of the season. There was no nominations for this. We left it completely up to you guys. The nominations were the full squad.
Yeah.
The absolute full squad. Whoever you wanted to vote for, you could vote for. And the winner of the Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. I should have got little envelopes, shouldn't I, really? And opened them and pulled them out. I've just got an iPad, so I'll just read it off that.
Just open your iPad.
The winner of the Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC Player of the Season is... That's supposed to be a drum roll, sorry, but it's rubbish. So it was...
Andy Cannon!
Andy
74% of the vote.
Yes, huge. Absolutely huge. So Andy Cannon, congratulations to you. You are the Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC Player of the Season.
Such an accolade.
Such an accolade. You can put that one on your mantelpiece.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. The thing that surprised me, just to flip back to the...
Sorry, I've got hair that is really annoying me.
Oh, right, okay. Thank you. No. The thing that really surprised me, the reason it's the Wrexham one surprised me, is that when we did our awards, like we said, we had loads of votes, absolutely loads of votes. We didn't have one vote for Paul Mullin as Player of the Season. Not one. Andy Cannon had 74% of the vote in our awards, and we didn't have one Paul Mullin vote, which really surprised me.
Yeah, it did surprise me, to be fair.
So it's twofold surprise. Number one, it really surprised me he won the other one. Although you can't deny him for everything that he's done.
Absolutely not.
It was just a surprise because I thought Andy Cannon was winning that award. But then to see our awards, and because we get a unique insight into them awards, the dynamic and the makeup of the votes, which we don't get in the Wrexham one.
Yeah.
And to see the absolute amount of votes for Andy Cannon and the no votes for Paul Mullin, that sort of compounded our surprise at Paul winning the Wrexham award, because we've got a very wide cross section of people who sort of watch this show and listen to this show. So we had votes from Australia, from New Zealand, from America, from Canada, from Wrexham, from London, from all over the place. So it wasn't like it was just centralized to one area. So it compounded our shock, I think, about that one. Second award, not so Well, I don't know what to say. Let's read it out. So the winner of the Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC Young Player of the Season was...
Mighty Max Cleworth.
It was.
Which wasn't a shock.
It wasn't a shock.
He got 94%
The
of
percentage
the votes.
of the win was a shock.
Yes.
He got 94% of the vote in our awards. I thought it would be tighter between him and Arthur, if I'm perfectly honest. It really wasn't. Arthur got a few votes, but it was mainly Max.
It was a landslide vote.
It was a landslide, deserved, I think. So he obviously won our award and the main award as well. Completely deserved, I think, for me. And yeah.
So next up, we've got Game of the Season. So this is any game, home or away, whichever game, obviously, as long as it's in this season. And the winner of Game of the Season is...
it's the Wrexham versus Mansfield home game. That was the Game of the Season. This was tight. This was very tight. This game only got 25% of the votes.
Yeah.
The game in, I'm not going to say what it is, but the game in second place, I think, got 23, and the game in third got 19. So very tight, this one. There was a lot of people with a lot of different opinions as to what their game of the season was. But look, great game, great performance. I can understand why this one won it for us.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. So, next one.
Goal of the season.
Yeah.
So we had quite a lot of votes, different votes for this, but this person got 57% of the votes.
Yes, they did. We did it different to the Wrexham. Wrexham obviously did categories. Who wins out of these four? Who wins out of these four? Whittled them down. We just said to you, crack on, do what you like.
And there was a lot of goals to choose from.
There was. So for one goal to get 57% of the votes, I think is sort of a clear indication. This is where we differ from the Wrexham Awards as well, because obviously Barney won that for his goal at Forest Green. Yeah. We did have votes for that, but it
quite
wasn't.
A few, actually.
Yeah, we did have quite a few, but it wasn't the winner. So the winner, the winner of the Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC goal of the season was
Cannon's goal at Grimsby away.
Yes, it was, and fantastic goal. That one, absolutely fantastic goal. Yeah. The last award is
when we were doing these awards, I wanted to have most dirtiest player after a game.
Yeah.
But Ryan was like, well, that's Elliot Lee, so that's gonna be that's gonna be boring.
Yeah.
The most handsome
George Evans.
I wanted to have funny ones in there, but it was just, we thought, oh no, this is a serious podcast.
No, it wasn't that. It was just like the funny ones that we came up with. They were very much clear cut as to it was going to be 100%. So we were like, oh, we'll just stick with these ones. Yeah. The last award for this year is most entertaining player. Now, that's all we told you. We literally said most entertaining player. Again, do what you like. Any player, it could be most skillful, best defender, funniest on social media, their celebrations for goal, anything. It really didn't matter. So the winner of most entertaining player is
James McLean.
It is James McLean, and James McLean got 54% of the votes on this one, which is huge, because I'm not sure James won this for completely football related stuff. If I'm honest, I think it was a lot of his sort of like when he scored, his celebrations, the way he taunts fans and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. I can understand why he won this. So congratulations to all the winners of them awards.
I hope you like your award.
Yes, which is a big thumbs up. So quiz time. I'm going to quiz you.
Oh, you've skipping
Yeah, we're going to do it now. Okay. We're going to do it now instead of at the end. So player of the season for you.
Andy Cannon.
Andy Cannon,
without a doubt.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I was so surprised that Andy didn't win the club's player of the season. Yeah. I was a little bit surprised he didn't win players' player of the season. Did he win any award? No, he didn't. No, and you've won our award, Andy. Yes, I Completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. There's nothing more to say on that one.
No,
I think,
end of.
and everyone who listens and watches voted for Andy. You think it's Andy. I think it's Andy. Andy, you're our player of the season, 100%.
Yeah.
Young player of the season. Everyone else out there went for Max.
Max.
I don't.
Everyone knows how much I love Max.
Yeah, I want
to adopt him.
I am not going to go against 94% of the people who voted.
No.
I think they're right. Look, I think Arthur, great season.
Yeah.
Had a great season. But you know,
I just feel Max has stepped up to the
yeah, I can see clear development in
podium.
Max. Stepped up to the
Isn't
podium.
that like pointless?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Stepped up to the podium.
And Arthur, great season.
Yeah.
Equally, Barney, I thought had a great season as
How
well.
old's Barney?
Young. But I don't know if he'd be in this category. But again, he's had a good season. But I don't think you can pick anyone other than Max, in my personal opinion.
No.
So this is where we're probably going to differ a little bit. So what's your game of the season?
Game of the season, I would have to say, I mean, it's difficult because there were quite a few, but there were quite a few bad ones as well. I think I have to say the Forest Green home game, purely because it's the day that we, got automatic promotion. It's the day that we went onto the pitch. It was the day that we had loads. It was just like the whole thing was just amazing.
Look,
that for me, it's that one.
It's very difficult for me to argue with that one. Because there'd be a case going, no, you're wrong, it's this one. That was a great day, and it was also a very good game. We scored 6. We played really well. We were very professional. There was some pressure on us on that day to get a result. We hadn't beat Forest Green away from home. We'd walked away from that with a draw.
Yeah.
There was pressure there, and I think they went out there and they were very professional. They did their job, but they did their job with flair on that day as well. So I'm not going to argue with you, but for me it was a different. There's 2 other games that when I sat down and did this list, I picked the Swindon game, the 5-5, to come from 4-1 down to end up drawing 5-5, 2 goals in injury time at the end of the game.
Yeah, it was pretty
after being
mental,
so fuming at half time. When they scored their 4th, I stormed off, and I was just like, this is just so poor. And we'll talk a bit about that when we do our review. But to then have the courage and to sort of step up and go, look, we've been crap there, and for the players to come out and go, look, the fans don't deserve this.
Yeah.
Let's put it right. It would have been lovely to have not conceded that 1 goal in the second half and to gone on and won it 5-4. But for me, that was a superb game.
Yeah.
The other game for me, which was quite close to it, was the Salford game. Where we scored 2 goals in 50 seconds. That was another good one. But for me, it was the Swindon game, if I'm perfectly honest.
Okay.
Yeah. Goal of the season for you?
I have to agree with all the viewers and say Cannon's Grimsby goal. I thought that was, I thought it was a great goal.
Yeah.
And I think it was the start of, I just think he's just...
It was the start of a good end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was that one for me. I think... Whichever way I slice it, it was Cannon.
Barnett's goal was pretty good, against Forest Green, wasn't it?
It was. And do you know what? Barney's goal against Forest Green was what it did something strange to me, right? Because when something really special happens in football, it sort of gave me... I had this rush of sort of emotion. And I had this lump in my throat when he scored it, because it was just like, oh my God. And that was the only goal of the season that did that.
Yeah.
But I think it has to be something spectacular to make that happen to you. But for me, I think either the Andy Cannon goal at Grimsby, so to agree with everybody else and with you, or maybe the Andy Cole. Very different player, a long time ago. The Andy Cannon goal against Stockport was the other one. The angle, everything, the fact it was a winner later the game. That was
just any of Andy Cannon's goals.
So I think it was definitely between them two.
Yeah.
Because everyone else voted and you voted for it, I tend to agree. The Grimsby. And the last one is most entertaining player.
Well, we all know how much I love James McLean. If we are going for most entertaining player in regards to his celebrations and the way
everything we're doing, like we said, it's everything.
It encompasses everything,
yes.
And I just think, James McLean, I just think he's a hoot.
Yeah, look, he is, and I agree with you. For me,
don't necessarily. Can I just put it out there? Don't necessarily agree with all of his views. I don't, but as a person, as a player, I just think he's so funny.
Yeah, look,
I just think he's great.
Yeah. Again, it's hard to disagree. But for me, when I saw that category, most entertaining for me, it's Stephen Fletcher.
Yeah.
So for the skill, for the little flicks, for the goals he scores, and because he spends a lot of time on the bench, he scored some very late important goals as well. So for me, the most entertaining player for me has been Stephen Fletcher this season. So
fair enough.
Okay, tired, are you?
I am really tired. Sorry, I'm not bored. I'm just really tired. I didn't sleep very well last night, so I do apologise.
Yeah, you should apologise because it's very rude.
I apologise. I'm really sorry. If you could see underneath my makeup, I have got bags the size of suitcases.
She has. So, Welcome to Wrexham came out this week.
It did. I was so excited.
We're not going to talk too much in depth about this.
Well, no, because people may not have seen it.
Not just that. It's obviously we're going to do a season debrief, season review, and we're going to go through it. So a lot of the stuff that was in these first 2 episodes are obviously we're going to have a little chat about when we're going through the season. So we don't, we're not going to go too in depth, but enjoyable. Did you like it?
It was enjoyable. The first two episodes were good. The only annoying thing for me is the fact that they have the same people as they did in series 1 and series 2. I just think there's so many more people that can, including us. But yeah, there's certain people that I don't find very entertaining, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
I know that's probably not something I should say on the podcast, but it's true. I just find them quite irritating.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, mix it up, more people from the town. Although we did get to see Oliver, who was
yes.
Was it Oliver Stevens? Oh, Oliver
Stevens.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just make sure I get that the right way around. Which I loved that bit.
That was a nice surprise to have him in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just a legend. It's just so he told us his story. We won't go into it too much because obviously if you haven't already seen it, then we don't want to spoil it for you. But he's an unofficial photographer, isn't
yes,
he?
He
he's
is.
Not the official photographer, but he basically goes around Wrexham taking photographs of the race course, of people just walking around. It sounds really weird, but he asks their permission to take their photos. But yeah, and his story was so, I think, relatable to a lot of people.
Yeah, it was he does great photos as well.
Fantastic.
Really great photos.
I think he's got a website actually, which we will actually link down in the description, I think.
So you think he's got a website?
No, I do know he's got a website.
Okay.
No. So he has got a website, and we will link it down in the description.
Yes.
So don't forget, because you do the description.
That is fine. Yeah, we'll do that. Look, I found it fascinating. The thing I found fascinating because he basically suffered with depression and anxiety.
Still does.
Yes, and I didn't know what was the right way to put that, but yeah. So but the club sort of grabbed him, and it's really important to him. But he's never been to a game, even though he's living here in Wrexham, because of doesn't like big crowds, loud noises, all that sort of stuff. So he sort of photographs the club from afar in a way. I found it fascinating how the club has sort of grabbed people you know, without people who weren't involved in the club before. And I think it's really important because it reminded me of you in a way, you know, the sense of,
I know I'm a great photographer.
No, I know, in the sense of how the club has grabbed people who have potentially been here for a long time and yet but had never been interested or wanted to get involved before. And you know, it's not just happening with international fans, it's happening with people right here in this town now. Definitely. It's grabbing, and it was, for me, it was fascinating and I really loved it. I
think that was probably, out of the 2 episodes, I think that was probably the highlight of them both for me.
Yeah, I'd say so. It definitely was for me. Yeah. I think it's quite hard to get a sports documentary right because it is impossible to please everybody.
I'll get too sport heavy.
Yeah.
Even though it's a sports documentary.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Yeah. We watched the Man City documentary that was on Netflix.
Yeah.
And which was really, it was really interesting. The issue I had with it, which I said to everyone who sort of asked me about it, is I felt there was too much football in it. And that sounds so weird about a football team's documentary, but it just felt like it was just game highlights from different angles, from this angle, more game highlights, more football. Whereas the Wrexham one, as has been criticised in the past for
not having
enough football. But
if you want to watch football,
I know,
then you can watch highlights back, can't you? This is about, like the Man City one, it was football heavy, but it should have been about, you know, it did talk about the players and stuff like that. But the Wrexham one, as Rob and Ryan have openly said, it's not about just the club. It is about the whole community.
Yes.
And I think they've I'm going to use this word again, encompassed that.
You've used that twice.
Yeah, I can't think of another word.
Okay. No, I agree.
They've, you know, and I just think the producers and the film crew and everything of Welcome to Wrexham have done it so superbly, and I feel another award coming on.
Yeah.
For that, I mean, like.
Well, let's see how the rest of it goes first.
No, I don't know. I think.
Yeah.
Look,
it's been really good.
It has been good.
It has been good, but I think in future weeks we will talk a little bit more about the documentary. But this week, because it sort of coincides with us doing a review of the season, we can't go too in depth on it because then that'll negate some of the stuff we're going to talk about as we're going through the season. So, look, it is.
Strapping.
Yeah, I mean, it's trying to crush 46 games plus other games on top into like a 20-minute discussion about the season is so hard. It's so difficult, and you know, so we've tried to do it as brief as we can, but without trying to skim over too much stuff.
Some games were boring. They didn't even really need talking about. But
some games were awful, and I'm not going to talk about them.
When I say boring, I mean we were just terrible.
Look, it's go right the way back. We had a pre-season in America.
Yeah.
We played LA Galaxy 2, Chelsea, Man United, Philadelphia Union. And for me, it was like to see us playing. Not so much LA Galaxy and Philadelphia Union. I understand why we played them teams, but to see us playing tour games in the States against Chelsea and Man United was just mind blowing.
And the stadiums were vast,
massive.
They were
massive, full, and the amount of Wrexham shirts in them stadiums.
It was incredible.
It absolutely mind-boggling.
It was.
You know, something that you would never assume would happen. Something that we saw in the documentary happened. Yeah, the Man United game was the Paul Mullin injury.
Oh my God. I think when you watch the game, you know, they weren't so like in your face and stuff like that, in Paul's face, but when you could see, he said that he couldn't breathe and his lips were turning blue.
Yeah.
I just like, even though I know he's fine, I sort of, I kind of got a bit like anxious.
It was full on, wasn't
it? It was horrendous. And
yeah, it was.
And I'm not even related to Paul. I'm not married to Paul. I don't, have nothing to do with Paul.
Yeah.
But it really hit me. So I cannot imagine what it did to his wife and his family. It must have been such a scary time. And oh my God, it was just horrendous.
It was, and I think the documentary really brought it home, because when you see an injury on you're just watching a game, because we were watching the game, we saw the injury happen, and we thought, oh, that doesn't look great, and he wanted to get up and walk off because his family.
Up. Yeah, I'm getting up.
Yeah, and when you see that happening, I don't think you get the documentary really brought it home about how serious it was.
When you could see his lips
turning blue as well. It's all the sort of stuff that you don't see during that game.
No.
When that injury happened and we knew he was going to be out for a while, initial thoughts for me.
Holy moly.
Yeah. A player, top scorer season before, he's now, stuck in America. He can't come back. It was
Damn you, man, you goalkeeper.
It was sort of like, this could be huge. This could, and
this could have, it could have ended his career.
No, I don't.
Yes, it could.
Okay, it could have ended his career. Yeah, I think it.
Let me be dramatic.
I think maybe it was more likely to end his life than it was his career.
Well, then it would have ended a career, wouldn't it?
All right, shut up.
But we are so happy that he recovered and did so quite quickly. Actually,
he wasn't there for the first six games. 6 games he missed.
Yeah, and we were crap in all of them.
Yeah,
no, we weren't. I'm joking. I'm joking.
We weren't, not at all. But I think we've learnt this season, haven't we? Because that tour in America finished a week before the season started.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Jet lagged, tired.
Yes.
Vegas hangovers.
Yeah.
Vegas hangovers.
Yeah, I mean, it was just ridiculous.
It was horrendous.
Ridiculous. Yeah. We've learnt our lesson this time. The last game is 2 weeks before the start of the season. I think I don't think we'll be repeating them mistakes. And because the first game of the season, we were on holiday, which we've obviously spoke about before.
We were.
Because somebody made a mistake about the booking and got us back on the wrong day. And we had to watch it in Ibiza, didn't we?
Which wasn't so bad, considering we watched the game back, the MK Dons game back, and you couldn't really. I mean, we did watch the game, but I'm just saying and it was absolutely chucking it down with rain. So it was quite nice to be there in your shorts and t-shirt.
It wasn't. It was horrible.
It was horrible.
It was horrible. We watched it with 2 beards as well.
We did.
That was. It started off really nice watching it with other people, but when you start conceding goal after goal after goal, it's sort of like you're all sitting there, just sort of every now and again looking at each other, going,
well, I'm going outside for some fresh air.
Yeah, this isn't going great, is it? It was one of them. We signed James McLean.
We did.
Obviously, which you were very happy about.
I was.
Not maybe at the time. Did you know who James McLean was?
I had no idea.
Okay. All right then.
No idea. I just obviously heard stories about him and
Poppy story.
The Poppy story.
Yeah. That comes up every year. So
I just want to quickly just do a little sideline to that. James McLean gets a lot of
stick,
bad press.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, it's actually not James McLean who talks about these issues. He has come out years and years and years ago, told everybody how he feels about certain categories, certain topics.
Yeah.
And that is it. It's not him that talks about them. It's people dragging them up.
Yeah.
And I just think people need to, just get a grip. Anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Look, we, after that, I'm not going to dwell on the MK Dons game because it was just horrendous. We were very poor. We looked tired. We looked way off it. We looked so way off it. And it was a massive slap in the face.
Don't take the lads on a Vegas holiday.
No, it wasn't.
4 games. It was everything combined.
The Vegas holiday was months before the season.
Yes, I know, but they went to Vegas. They went to Vegas, then they went to
They didn't go directly to America. It wasn't like a 2-week period where they went to Vegas for a week, then they played 4 games.
Well, it seemed quite quick.
Look, it was just, the game was awful. We scored 3 goals. I don't think we deserved them. We deserved to get battered. And look, let's move on.
It was a smack in the face with a fish.
It was a huge slap down.
What did Ryan Reynolds?
I can't say what Ryan said.
You have to just like.
I don't know that. I don't know.
I do.
I don't. Yeah.
I do. It was 90 minutes of F you.
No, shut the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 90 minutes of shut the F up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's what, and it was.
I mean, it sounds funnier from Ryan, but Ryan Reynolds, that is.
Yeah. Look, we drew away at Wimbledon, and then we got our first win back in the league against Walsall. From memory, it was a Tuesday night.
It was our anniversary, I think.
Was it?
Was it the 29th of August?
Maybe. I don't know. No, I don't think it was. No, it wasn't. And
okay.
And we won 4-2. And it was, cold. It's just so nice to get that first win. And it was like, when you lose the first game, then you draw a game, and then you do start to wonder, even though it's really early in the season, you start to wonder, we've got 1 point from a possible 6. You start to think, is this how this league's going to go?
Yeah.
And you do get worried. So, so for me, it was just nice to get that win.
It was Bradford. I just had to look, sorry, because it's really annoying me.
Okay. I tell you what, here's a point for next season, right? Any research you want to do, why don't you do it off air? That might be an idea, mightn't it?
It was only just a little segue.
Let's move it. What, you looking stuff off while everyone's sitting there going, we'll sit here, shall we, while we wait for Sian to look stuff up?
You were talking.
As always. And then came the 5-5. The 5-5 Swindon game, which I've said possibly my favourite game of the season. The only reason I say possibly is that we didn't win.
It would have been nice.
It would have been nice, but there was a knock-on effect of that Swindon game, which was discussed in the documentary, and that was the retirement of Ben Foster. Again.
No, I think that was sort of, I just think he said in the documentary that he made mistakes and let goals in that he should have been saving, and he's very critical of himself, and I just think, it was the right decision for him. I think, if you're not happy with your performance, you need to take a good hard look at yourself.
Yeah.
And decide whether it's actually whether you want to stay or not. So.
Look, he will know better. He will know better than anyone whether he could have done better in them games. For me, I wasn't pointing loads of blame at Ben for them things, because for me, if teams are getting in positions where they have a chance of scoring, that's not down to the keeper. If you're facing shot after shot after shot, let's be honest, we know from this season, 5 shots on target, that's a pretty decent return for 90 minutes, 5 shots on target. MK Dons scored 5 goals. So they've got in a position where they're able to do that on at least 5 separate occasions. Yeah. So I'm not sure you can completely point the finger at Ben for everything. But like I say, he would know better.
Yeah.
Better than most. I should have saved that. I could have done better in that situation. I'm eternally grateful for Ben for coming back, for providing me with, if I'm honest, one of, if not my favourite moment in watching football ever is the Notts County penalty save.
Yeah.
One of my favourite footballing moments live ever, I would say, in all the years I've watched in football. But yeah, so he did a job. He come back, he did a job, and him leaving. Mark Howard obviously came in to sort of start after Ben left. but Ben leaving facilitated us bringing Arthur in.
It did.
So, you know,
which was a slight kick in the teeth for Mark Howard, I think, but...
No, it was the right call. And it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? It is swings and roundabouts. Look, we're losing Ben Foster. Oh, we got Arthur Okonkwo, who turned out to be amazing for us. So
we really want him to stay.
I know. Look, after that, we drew with Barrow, but then we went on a little bit of a run. We beat Tranmere, Doncaster, and Grimsby. And Grimsby saw the return of Super Paul Mullin.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Try not singing songs that are
sorry.
that are copyrighted.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So I think he came back a lot sooner than we thought he was going to come back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because I remember being we turned up to a game, and we were standing having a beer as usual, and then it was like...
I love how you say we.
When I say we, I mean like my dad and your brother and, you know...
whoever else is there.
Yeah. But we were sort of like...
He's on the... I think Paul, I was with you at that point.
Yeah, Paul's here. And it was a massive shock because I think he'd come back.
Did he start or was he on the bench? I can't remember. He started, didn't he?
I think he started, yeah. And it was a
bit of a shock. I thought maybe
huge
if he was...
shock.
Yeah.
Huge shock. Really surprised that he'd come back. In hindsight, maybe a little bit too early. Maybe didn't have his complete fitness and a little bit, you know, as fresh as maybe
I think
could
as
have
well, been. That must have been quite an emotional thing for him. It must have been scary to be so close to the goalkeeper, thinking, "Oh my God, is this going to happen again?" And like he did fall over at one point, and I thought, "Oh my God, this just." You know, has he come back too soon? Is it, you know?
It's the whole get back on the horse thing, though, isn't it? You know, if you have, it's like people who have car crashes. It's sort of like they do recommend if you're planning to drive again, the best thing to do is just to get on with it and just because you can't be scared. Because for him to be scared to play football again, it's not going to be
his life.
It wouldn't be the same player again, would he?
No.
He'd just be so tentative, and it's not the game that he. That he knows how to play.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm glad he come back. After that, we got slapped in the face by an old foe as well. We went away to Stockport.
Oh.
We tried to get tickets for this game, didn't we?
I'm so glad
we were on when they got released, and we tried to get tickets. We missed out because, you know, one reason or another. So happy we didn't get tickets for that one because we got battered in that game. We lost 5-0. Mark Howard, I think, was that Mark Howard's last game? I think it might have been his. Loads of criticism came in for Ben, I think, during that game. Ben Tozer got a lot of criticism during that 5-0 defeat as well. It's horrible losing to teams like that in the sense of I always want to beat Stockport.
Yeah.
I would call... They're a little bit of a rival, but I think the whole Wrexham-Stockport rivalry is built up way too much. I don't think Wrexham fans or Stockport fans care too much about each other.
I think the Stockport fans care a little bit more than the Wrexham fans do. I mean, when we went away, did we get a plane flying over?
Well, it's lucky we didn't get a bloody plane flying over because they battered us 5-0, didn't they? So the plane would have looked a bit bloody stupid,
I know, but you know
wouldn't
what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous. I think Stockport definitely has a thing.
Let's not dwell on that anyway. Look, Stephen Fletcher had obviously come in the summer. And then we played Crewe at home, and we got the first real glimpse of the Stephen Fletcher show, didn't we?
Viking. We
certainly did, scoring last minute, rescuing a point for us against local rival.
Yeah.
We've sort of talked about this already, but happy he's staying.
Yeah. He's been offered. We don't actually. I know it probably is. He is staying, but. You know, it's not actually official. No,
so that was the first game Arthur started for us. Conceded 3 goals. Wasn't the best to start, but and I think I think a last-minute goal is one of my favourite things in football. Yeah. And I think now I'm talking.
When we win, It is, but if we...
No,
if
even to rescue a point, that's fine. That's still exciting. And I think even while I'm talking about it now, you know, I said I was 50-50 about Stephen Fletcher, you know, whether it was worthwhile keeping him and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Sitting here talking about this now, I just realised if we're going to get a few of these moments during the season, for me personally, as a fan, well worth it.
Yeah.
100% worth it.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, as long as we can get a few more. Look, we kept finding a way to get the job done. We beat Crawley 1-0, Sutton 2-1, last minute Elliot Lee goal. Fantastic goal, by the way. That was right up there for my goal of the season. Absolutely smashed it from the edge of the box, 88th minute. You know, struggled to beat Sutton. We struggled to beat Sutton home and away. You know, so Sutton weren't the worst team in the world, even though they ended up going down. They were not the worst team I've seen at the race course.
When did Sutton go up to League Two?
Oh, God, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know the answer, if I'm perfectly honest. It's not that long ago.
No.
You know, they haven't. It's not years and years and years. And then my birthday came around, obviously, 14th of October, if anyone wants to make a note of that. And it was the Salford game. Again, it was one of them games that I loved. And it was sort of like, it was a game where, if you look at it on the face of it, I was fuming again at half time. You know, we'd conceded a few goals and, you know, they were easily avoidable goals as well. And then one of my favourite moments of the season was a little 52-second spell where we scored 2 goals. You know, we scored and then Stephen Fletcher scored.
Yep.
Ball went back to the halfway line, kicked off again, and when we scored again straight after, it made my birthday, if I'm honest. No, it really did. It really made my birthday. I was so excited about that.
That's all you need.
Looking back at things like that, though, the Salford game, you know, you sort of get the feeling that was vital. But did you realise how vital picking up the difference between 1 and 3 points? Did you get a sense of how vital it was at that time?
I knew we were doing we were doing not badly, but we were doing not great.
Yeah.
So I thought any points that we pick up now onwards are going to be important. But I wasn't really like, oh, you know, if we lose this, it's just gonna run away from us.
I think it's an impossible question, really, isn't it? It's hard to know.
You can't predict, can
it's
you?
hard to know how important, how vital things are. But I think them last-minute wins are so crucial to teams, any team, you know, to sort of pick up points in that way.
Yeah,
I think is really, really sort of vital.
We had tickets for Notts County away.
Yeah.
I was going to say home, we would anyway, for the away game. But Ryan got, what did you get?
Gastritis.
Gastritis.
Well, I had pleurisy.
Yeah, pleurisy.
And then that was coupled with a bout of gastritis as well.
I was livid.
Yeah, no, so we had to sell our Notts County tickets. And considering our record of watching away games this season being so poor, and that being such a good Wrexham performance, coming away with with all 3 points against Notts County, who are obviously a title rival the season before, still you still feel like there's a bit of a rivalry there. As it turned out, they only finished mid-table. The rivalry sort of dissipated a little bit as time went on. But it was so gutting to miss that game, but there's just no way I could have gone.
No, you were really poorly.
I was.
I said I was fuming. I wasn't. I was more bothered about Ryan than I was about going to see Notts County.
We kept showing sort of like flashes of brilliance at this point in the season.
Yeah.
The Notts County win. We beat Morecambe 6-0.
That was good.
But the 6-0 against Morecambe was sort of sandwiched in between a 2-0 loss away to Accrington, which they celebrated like they'd won the Champions League. And then the 2-2 draw away at Harrogate after being 2-0 up as well. You know, flashes of brilliance. And then it was just like bookended by these sort of like...
happen though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. At the lead up to Christmas, we put together a 3-game win streak against Colchester, Newport and Swindon. What did you make, talking about Newport, what did you make of the Newport game? you know, with it being like another Welsh club, a rivalry, the history that goes along with that, that would have come about prior to you being a fan of the club and being involved with the club. Did you get a sense of how
big it was?
Big and important that game was for the fans?
Initially, no, because it was just a derby for me.
Yeah, Welsh derby. Yeah,
Welsh derby.
North versus South and all that.
Yeah. But as time went on, and people were like talking about it more, I kind of went, "This is actually a big deal. This game." I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't really understand why, because I didn't really know the history and stuff like that. But I kind of thought, oh yeah, this is actually quite a big game. If we lose this,
do you know what? When I think maybe you had a bit of an inkling as well, because I was quite animated during that game.
Oh my God, you're so annoying.
Yeah, and I stood up and I was like screaming at someone or something, and you were like, "What? Just calm down." And I was like,
"Calm down. It's just a game."
No, you didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
But then I was like, "Do you know how important this is?" They beat us. They knocked us out of the FA Cup in 2018. They beat us in the playoff final, and it was just like, no. I'm not sitting down. You sit down.
I figured that it was quite important. Yeah. When Ryan starts, because Ryan's quite quiet at games. He's very concentrating and all that kind of stuff. But when he's very animated. What did I say?
Animated. You said.
Oh my God. That. Animated. I can usually say that word. What's wrong with me?
Try again. It's funny.
Animated.
There you go. And again?
Animated.
Yeah.
When Ryan is animated, he is very
animated,
vocal and sweary and shouty. So I know that the game is sort of like important. I mean, not saying every game isn't important.
No.
But like very up there with the, whatever. But yeah, I didn't realise until that point.
No. We lost away at Walsall, didn't we?
We did.
Which sort of felt like a massive kick in the teeth for me, because I thought it felt like a game that we could have gone and sort of done something. I don't think it was the worst performance in the world. I think the game after that was one of my favourite of the season.
Yeah.
Another one. I said loads of games I thought.
Every single one of the games that we won were my favourite.
The Barrow at home. But weirdly, the game I picked as my game of the season, we didn't even win it. We drew 5-5 against Swindon, so that's a bit odd, isn't it? But anyway, so the Barrow game, which was again Stephen Fletcher show. Barrow had one of the best defences in the league at the point when we played them. Stephen Fletcher scored a hat-trick. We scored 4 against them. It felt like a real sort of
turning point.
I'm not sure turning point's the right word, but it really felt like a statement. A statement of going, these have got the best defensive record. They've come on our turf and we have slapped them back. Nobody's easily going to turn us over here. Maybe not true for the whole season, but it did feel like a statement to me, and it was nice to see what Steve Fletcher can really do when he gets the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
We had a week off from the league and we went and beat the Farmers down the road in the FA Cup. What?
You scare me when you say stuff like that, because I think people are going to hunt us down and like stab you or something.
Yeah, well, they're not, are they? So, the Carrot Crunchers, we beat them 1-0 in the FA Cup, which was really nice. I think we're obviously going to be playing them in League One next season. So that is what I would call a proper derby for me, because it's
like 45 minutes away, isn't it?
No, but right. So historically, our derbies have been Chester and Shrewsbury. That's it. Okay. Now, if you do a Google Maps, Tranmere is closer than Shrewsbury is. Okay.
Right.
But I would still say them two are the derbies. Okay?
Tranmere, Shrewsbury.
No. Shrewsbury and Chester. Ugh. They're the two that I would say are derbies. Even though Tranmere is closer, I'd still class it as like a bit of a derby. Crewe as well, even closer than the two of them. But Shrewsbury and Chester are the ones for me that I would class as derbies. But yeah, so we get to play them twice next season, which will be fun. Which is, and
we've got like the FA Cup and stuff like that, so we might play him in that again.
Oh, no, we won't. Come on, we've had all these seasons where we've had a chance to draw a Premier League team, and it just hasn't happened for us. And I think it's our turn.
It's our time.
It's our turn for a Premier League team. I think. Okay. Hopefully, if we can get to the third round again, that'd be great.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks after that, we bowed out of the FA Cup in the fourth round to Blackburn. I think that was a very clear indication of where we are in our development, because we got what's the best way of putting it? We got owned. We got completely owned.
We got ripped a new one.
Andy Cannon put us 1-0 up. Great goal, but it was very evident
we were going
who was the sometimes you play, there'll be one team from a lower league playing a higher league team.
Yeah.
They'll be playing against each other. People watching it are going, oh, you can't even tell who the higher league team is and who the lower league team is. They're really well matched, or the lower league team's playing better. It was very evident in that game who was the Championship team and who was the League Two team.
Happy for Cannon getting one goal though. That was nice.
It was, and it was nice to get it first, so you can have a little bit of excitement of going. But
and then it was like
after that,
downhill.
Arthur made a couple of mistakes in that game as well. It's nice, but it felt like the right time to bow out of the cup as well, to concentrate on the league. That's always what losers say. We're going to bow out of this one, lads, just so we can concentrate on the old league, But yeah, it would have been nice to go further, but I think it was probably the
way that we were performing in the league. It was better. It was a must that we kind of.
Yeah, during January we bought. You yawning is really putting me off.
I'm so sorry. I'm trying to be discreet about it. I'm
going to burst your bubble. You're really not being discreet.
I'm so sorry. I'm exhausted.
If you're listening to the podcast, you probably won't realise what's going on, but there you go.
I'm tired.
The January transfer window. The January transfer window we brought in Bolton and Marriott. Bit underwhelming, really, wasn't it? Hoping for more. Didn't happen.
Where's they come from?
So Marriott, I don't know where Marriott came from. Was he a free agent?
I've got a feeling that one of them came from Charlton. Who came from Charlton?
No idea. Bolton came from Salford.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
That's not what I was thinking, but yeah.
No, I can't remember where Marriott came from. Did he come from anywhere? Anyway, doesn't matter. Underwhelming?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think...
They've been all right, but I think when we went... I think the Doncaster game sort of like... You're rubbish, even.
Who?
Bolton.
Why?
You're rubbish at the Doncaster game.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know what you were talking about there.
I swore, but realised that I'd swore and...
Look, Marriott, I think Marriott's found it really hard to get going. I think...
He scored one goal, hasn't he?
Yeah, look, in their defence, I think... I like Bolton for his speed. Mm-hmm. Barney's tricks. Bolton is knock it past you and run.
Blur them together.
So, yeah, exactly. But so I don't mind. I think it's so hard for players to show what they're about when they're just not getting the minutes. They're coming on for 15, 20 minutes at a time, and you're sitting there going, well, show us what you can do then, like some sort of show pony.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's so hard for them to do that. They might become pivotal moving forward. Who knows? You just don't know. But maybe a little bit of an underwhelming transfer window, I'd say there. Look, we played Salford away.
Horrible game.
We went to that game, a very small little ground, but it was all right actually. It wasn't the worst place I'd ever been. I quite like a terrace. Takes me back to the olden days.
You
terrace.
have to stand up in a terrace. It's not. For
you stand up when we got seats in an away game. So what's it matter?
Yeah, but at least I've got the option and my back starts to hurt.
Yeah, I suppose. Look, it was the worst. I'm not going to dwell on this one. Worst performance of the season for me.
Terrible.
It was absolutely awful. And I started to worry at that point that perhaps we weren't good enough to get out of this league. When we were putting in performances like that. Do you want to even more disgusting stat?
Not really.
Salford only won 5 games at home all season.
And one of them was against us.
One of them was against us. How much worse does that make it? Infinitely more worse, I would say. Yeah.
Not great.
I know, it's awful, but yeah, let's move on from that one. We beat Grimsby. Oh no, sorry, I've jumped on. We lost at home to Bradford. Fair play to their manager. He's nobody did the double over us, apart from him. No, not Bradford, him.
Oh.
Because he was MK Don's manager in the first game of the season. Left them, went to Bradford, and so he beat us twice at the racecourse this season. So, you know, all fairness to him, you know,
who's that?
I can't remember his name now. That's why I was trying to say. But yeah,
just throw that in there.
We beat Notts County 1-0 with only 26% possession, which was
mental.
That was a little bit nuts. It is like a proper roller coaster, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We didn't win any of our next 3 before we beat Accrington and Morecambe. So it was sort of like, oh, we beat Notts County. We've really dug in. We put in a good performance there. Didn't win any of our next 3 after that. And then we bounced back and we beat Accrington and we beat Morecambe, which was great. And then we had a really poor week at home. So Tuesday night, it was a little bit cold. We were playing Harrogate, who were sort of like mid to lower half of the table, looking to pick up, you know, good 3 points, moving into playing Tranmere on the Saturday, again, lower down the league, you know, looking for 6 points out of them 2 games. Went to the Harrogate game, drew 0-0. Everyone really disappointed, really should have, you know, done better in that game, should have put them to bed. And then Saturday came round, local rival turns up, you know, and you're thinking, right, okay, let's put right what happened on Tuesday. Didn't do that. Connor Jennings came back to haunt us, and he played a long ball forward. I think it was Cannon actually made a little bit of a hash of the clearance. They scored. We never really got going, you know, didn't create enough chances. So out of a week when we should have been picking up 6 points, we ended up with 1. And it was I don't know,
why do we dwell on these games?
It's so strange though, because you feel like you're getting going and then things happen where you go, okay, we're done. We're done. We're not getting out of this league. You know, it's not happening for us. At that point, we had 8 games left. And as it turned out, from them final 8 games, we only dropped points in 1 of them. And that's what won us. Well, not won us the league. That's what got us automatic promotion. Them last 8 games, coming off the back of drawing to Harrogate, losing at home to Tranmere, at our fortress, to then in the last 8 games only drop points in 1 of them. That's huge, I think. So we beat Grimsby 3-1 away. We beat Mansfield 2-0 at home, which is obviously the viewers and listeners' game of the season. I would sort of say it was probably the performance of the season for me. Maybe it's hard to sort of explain what I mean, but I will try. So for me, the Mansfield game was the performance of the season, but perhaps not the game of the season. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That was the best we'd performed, but for me, there was more exciting games than that game.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that, I think. But I think the game that really did it for me, the one that I thought, this is a tough one now. Now we've put Mansfield to bed. This one is make or break time. And that was the Crawley game. Crawley were flying at that point. Yeah. They were coming to the racecourse, really good away record.
The best.
And I'm gonna slap down what I just said. The Mansfield performance of the season, I'd probably flip that a little bit and say maybe it was the Crawley game. That was the performance of the season. Yeah. To have a team like that turn up, flying high, aiming for playoffs, which they are in the playoffs now, for us to do to them what we did on that night, I think was
superb.
It was amazing. Yeah, to beat them 4-1 was absolutely fantastic. It was soured slightly by our trip to Doncaster. Where this was the only game in them last 8 where we dropped points. We were there. Chaz was there. Chaz came to meet us.
Yeah.
And we sat there for 90 minutes just going, oh, God.
It was raining. It was cold.
It was one of them where you go, after you put in such good performances... We
were hoping it was going to carry on,
and then you go, we're going to do this. Yeah. This is going to happen. We're going to do this, and then you go to Doncaster and you go, it's not going to happen. Is it? We might as well just stay in this league forever.
Should have stayed at the hotel.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know. So the Crawley game had set us up with a shot of promotion on the 13th of April against Forest Green. We won 6-0. Promotion to League One, running on the pitch.
Yeah.
It was just that was your favourite game, wasn't it? As you said.
Game. So many memories from will stay with us forever. I think.
Yeah, 100%. We were really relaxed then after that last 2 games, and it showed. Beat Crewe 3-0 away. We just looked so comfortable. Passing the way that we were passing and moving and everything. It was just superb at Crewe. And then we go and beat Stockport on the last day of the season.
That was the pinnacle, I think.
Yes.
After they beat us 5-0, we didn't quite beat them 5-0, but we still got the 3 points.
Yes.
It was good. I liked it.
Look, we finished
I liked it.
We finished on 88 points, played 46, won 26. So I think the aim was always win half of your games. Win half of your games, you've got a good shot on
Everybody was saying if they're mid-table by the end of the season, they'd be happy.
Yeah.
But the fact that we've got to second actually.
Yeah, so 126, which is above what was expected really. Drawn 10, lost 10, scored 89, conceded 52. I think the 52 is.
I always wondered what that meant on SofaScore.
Oh right. Okay.
I thought it was 89.52 seconds or something like that.
So I think a lot of them 52 came in the first part of the season, where
5 of them were on the first day.
I can think of 15 in 3 games. Let's put it like that. So best home record in the league. We beat every team except MK Dons, Bradford, and Harrogate. No team did the double over us, and we did the double over 6 teams. Not going to name all 6, but one of them was Notts County, so take that.
Party.
Karen Pendlebury got in touch. Great job all season, you two. Thank you.
JPH.
He made a donation.
John, that is.
Yeah.
It may be used for some glue for the handle. And congrats to Sian, the winner. Thanks for being so entertaining and informative. Cheers from Boston. I think he means the handle from the
from
Aaron
last
Hayden.
week. Yeah, the Aaron Hayden mug.
The Omen mug.
Craig Roberts got in touch this week as well. He said, in our intro, basically, I say, put your feet up and relax. He said, that's a really bad suggestion as I listen whilst driving, so think on. We will, Craig. Yes, we will.
Yes, we will. Hugh Davis, in light of what you said, next season, give me 10 games, for 100 quid.
That's basically about me missing a lot of the Stockport game because I was drinking. So he said, in light of that, maybe you should give me some of your games for 100 quid. Sarah, episode, this was for last week. It was episode 95. Wow, coming up on the big 100. Great job. Thank you, Sarah.
100th episode. God, I'm so weird. It's out on June the 3rd, so it's not that long away.
It's not that long away. It's not at all. So look, let's look ahead a little bit. We're going to talk about it a lot in the coming weeks, but League One.
Yeah.
Just very simply, we're not going to talk about it for ages.
Back-to-back promotion.
back. Let's go. No. What are you feeling? What?
It's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
It is going to be hard. Harder, definitely, than League Two, obviously. We're going against bigger clubs who have
bigger budgets,
budgets, bigger stadiums, bigger home attendances. So yeah, it's going to be massive, I think. But
we got Birmingham next year, which is huge.
You've called it, and a few other people have called it, that we will play Birmingham at home for the first game of the season.
Our first game, just to highlight, our first game of next season will be our 5,000th league game.
5,000.
Yeah, so it would be really nice to have that at home.
Doesn't seem that many, considering
you only pay 40 odd a season.
And is that from like the beginning of time?
From the beginning, yes. It's when we had a Stegosaurus on the right wing, yes.
No, you know what I mean. Is that from when the club was obviously created?
Well, we didn't join a league until the 1890s. So
but that's still 1890s. That's not that many, really.
No, and obviously there weren't as many teams in the league because not as many teams had been sort of started at that point. So if you think 40 games in a season, in 10 years you would only pay 400. So in 100 years you would play 4,000, and we're almost at our 5,000th. So
okay,
yeah. Just to give you some context to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So, what would you? Anyway, I don't think you answered it. What do you think? What's going to happen next season?
I did answer. Yeah, it's going to be hard. I am not making any assumptions.
Okay.
Especially this early on. If we finish mid-table, fantastic. We will crack on and do another season in League One. It's only 2 automatic promotion, isn't it? And then playoff team.
Yeah, four playoff places when.
So only 3 people promote.
Yeah.
But 4 people go down. Is that right?
Yes, because 4 go up.
So again, that's going to be tougher. But we've done it in the National League. I know obviously the calibre of team is a bit different. But yeah, I just think, we give it a good go. See what happens, see what the transfer window has for the summer.
I have got no issues with finishing in mid-table mediocrity. That will do me just fine. I think in the National League, I think it is, if you've got money, it is very easy to spend that money and build a team that can bulldoze their way out of that league. A little bit similar in League Two as well. Got some money, you can build a team that can bulldoze their way through that to an extent.
Yeah.
League One, it just isn't like that. You've got to take stock and you've got to rebuild, and you've got to, we've obviously got a lot of players which have, gone out through the door.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to need to replace them players. For me, it's all about the recruitment.
Yep.
The 3 automatic teams that went up from League Two last season finished this season in League One 9th, 11th and 14th. If I am honest, I would take any 3 of them. I'm happy with any 3 of them positions, just to because I think you build in the summer, you have a season there, and I think you then have to build again. And I think it's going to take a couple of seasons to build that team that you want, that's going to properly push on and go to the championship. Yeah, I think the first aim, as sort of like boring as it is, the first aim is survival. You've just got to stay there and survive. For me, I think you've got to be aiming. I think your first target is win 15 games. Just aim for winning 15 games. That'll keep you up. Winning 15 games, that'll keep you up. So aim for that.
Just repeat that same sentence.
Aim for that. Yeah. Shout out to Tim Yockey as well, who we met this week. Long-time listener of the show. He's been on as a guest on the show as well, hasn't he? He was over in Ireland. His friends surprised him with a trip over to Wrexham. Is that right? Am I saying that right? You're looking at me like I'm talking rubbish.
And Nick, yes.
Aileen and Nick. So they came over. So we met Tim for the first time. We'd obviously spoke to him on Zoom. Lovely guy. Aileen, Nick, lovely people as well. We went to the turf with them. We spent a couple of hours there, and Tim very kindly bought I'm going to say us a bottle of Jameson's whiskey. He bought me a bottle of Jameson's whiskey, but I'm massively grateful.
I was just
for
happy
that.
to have your company.
Yes,
you know.
I was happy for your company and the gift. Yeah.
Yes, which is already nearly finished already.
No, I haven't. I haven't. No, but that was really enjoyable, and we love that. We got a few more people who are coming over, and we're going to meet them very soon.
Which is nice because they're coming over like obviously off season,
yes.
So it's like we can
sit in the turf without being shoulder to shoulder
and
like this.
Also worrying. Right, it's 1:30 now. We've got to go.
Yeah,
we've got to go to the ground. Yeah.
Look. For anybody who didn't know, I know we've banged this drum before, but we're going to say it again. We are here every week in the off season. We're not having a break, anything like that.
For our sins.
We will be here every single week, giving you Wrexham news, discussing possible transfers, talking about the documentary, any other news that comes out of the club, all of that stuff. We will be doing
her usual rubbish.
Yeah, yawning. Very rudely every week. We will be here every single week, normal time, Monday, 6 p.m. in the UK. Work out what time that is and wherever you are in the world.
Yeah.
But we are not going away for the summer. We never do. If you want to get in touch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or email us at methewifeandwrexhamafc@gmail.com. Quick shout out for Dragon Chat as well. It's a mental health peer support group. They run 2 weekly Zoom calls. One is on a Monday at 8 p.m. and that is for women. And the other one is on a Thursday at 7 p.m. and that is for the men. The best thing to do is follow Dragon Chat Steve Lloyd on Twitter. Well, I've enjoyed it this week. I have enjoyed it. It has been a long one. We knew it was going to be a long one. We just want to say thank you to all the players who got released this week. Thank you for your service, and especially for me, Luke Young, who's been around for so long. Thank you very much. We hope to see you all again in the future at some point in some capacity. That would be really nice, wouldn't it?
It would be nice.
It would be nice.
Especially Luke.
Yes, yeah, 100%. So
we love you, Luke.
Yes.
Is that how you?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Is
that right?
Yeah, that'll do.
So old.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us this week. Come back and join us again next week, and we'll see you then.
Bye.